Funding a squad isn't just about supporting young people, it's about unlocking fresh creative thinking on real-world problems. My time on the Super Squad has been genuinely rewarding. When I joined, I didn't know much about cybersecurity or, really anything about the kind of ideas I'd come up with, but the program helped me kind of see real-world problems and how they can be tackled with practical, real-world solutions. I especially enjoyed working on my idea, Cyber Shield AI, and developing it week by week across the 6 weeks, from the first brainstorm to the final pitch. What really surprised me was placing in the top 3 of 100 ideas, and that gave me a huge confidence boost and showed me kind of with the right support and structure, I could take a rough concept and turn it into something that clearly really stood out. One of my favorite parts was the barbecue pitch week. It pushed me to communicate clearly, think like a business owner, and focus on what actually matters to customers. The Sherpas and squad leaders were super helpful throughout, and the group atmosphere made it feel collaborative, not competitive. More than anything, I've come away with creative problem solving, pitching, advocacy, and communication skills that I now use in the future. The Super Squad challenged me, inspired me, and genuinely made me consider entrepreneurship in a way I hadn't before. The best part about being on the Super Squad for me was how much it pushed me to think differently. One moment that really stood out to me was the task where we had to take someone else's concept and completely reimagine it. It challenged me creatively and forced me to think about how to make cybersecurity engaging, which I never expected to enjoy as much as I did. Another task which stuck with me was the Instagram ad idea, the design. It was cool to take a complex idea and kind of turn it into something visual, simple, and kind of attention-grabbing, which is kind of, like a lot of advertisements are, especially on social media like Instagram. It showed me how important design and communication is in getting your message across. And I was thinking what surprised me most was kind of how relatable the client made the topic. Like before we started, I kind of thought that cybersecurity was kind of a bit technical and maybe a bit dry. But the program made it fun, practical, genuinely interesting. I didn't expect as well how much independence we'd be given to kind of shape our ideas and take ownership of them. It felt completely different from college or any other work experience. It was, faster, more creative, and kind of more focused on real world thinking. As much as it was virtual, I didn't feel like a student. I felt like someone kind of working on a meaningful challenge. On the Super Squad, I developed a whole set of skills that I didn't think I was going to. One of the biggest ones was thinking like a business owner. I started to consider how things like pricing, customer needs, had to stand out in a crowded and competitive market or industry, and even how to make something profitable. I definitely got better at pitching ideas, so advocacy, communication, things like that. And by the end of the program, I was much more confident in explaining my concept clearly, keeping it engaging, and making it sound kind of real, practical, and valuable rather than just theoretical and out like worldly. Teamwork played a big role too, sharing ideas, giving and receiving feedback, building on each other's suggestions. We had a task around that. And kind of like I think I've mentioned before, making it more collaborative than competitive. I learned how to take intake feedback and use it to improve my idea, very quickly, which is a very useful skill in a creative or business setting. And overall, I think the squad kind of helped me combine creativity with strategy. Came thinking, I just learned a bit about cybersecurity. Well, not even cybersecurity because we didn't know that, so just a bit in general. But I came out with a stronger mindset, kind of a growth mindset, better communication skills, and definitely a much deeper understanding of how real businesses solve problems. Being exposed to the cyber insurance industry was much more interesting than I expected. At first, I thought it'd be, very technical, very kind of out of my, pay grade, but out of my scope. But what surprised me was how creative and people-focused it actually is. You're not just dealing with numbers, policies, kind of bare-faced companies. You're helping real businesses stay alive when something goes wrong. One surprising fact that stuck with me is that 43% of small businesses are often targeted by cyber attacks. So 43% of all cyber attacks target small businesses. Yet most of them don't think they're at the risk. That completely changed how I looked at the industry. I used to think cyber insurance was something that kind of only massive companies, it's just an assumption I think most people would have. But now I realize it's essential for every business. Your local cafe, a freelance designer, a small e-commerce shop, and every business, even the big businesses. So my perception has clearly shifted a lot. I now see the industry as fast-moving, essential, and full of innovation. It's not just about covering loss, it's about helping people prepare, prevent, and recover from really damaging attacks, and just stopping them before they even happen. That human side of it, combined with how the industry is growing, makes it way more exciting than I first thought. I'd say absolutely go for it. Funding a squad isn't just about supporting young people, it's about unlocking fresh creative thinking on real-world problems. Throughout the program, we weren't just learning, we were actively developing ideas that can make a difference. You'd be surprised just how much insight young people can bring when they're given the space to explore and be challenged. From a company's point of view, it's a smart investment. You're helping develop the next generation of problem solvers, entrepreneurs, and potential future employees. People who are already thinking like innovators. Plus, you get the added bonus of seeing your industry through a completely different lens. Normally, your employees, they're going to be, up there in age, mid-20s and above. You're getting perspectives through the eyes of young people, teenagers, people who are going to go into the industry, people who might be swayed by what your company is propagating. It's not often that businesses get real, unfiltered ideas from people who aren't already stuck inside the system. More than anything, funding a squad shows that your company actually cares about building the future, not just talking about it. It's a small cost and a big impact for the young people involved, for your brand, and possibly even for your business strategy.